Coyotes are no longer just a rural problem. In the past, coyotes were seen as elusive creatures of the wild, living far from human civilization in the remote deserts, grasslands, and open ranges of North America. However, in recent decades, that picture has changed dramatically. Thanks to their remarkable adaptability, these wild canines haven't just survived in modern times. They've thrived in urban environments, places once thought to be the exclusive domain of humans. Today, seeing a coyote in a suburban neighborhood, city park, or even your own backyard is no longer rare. Residents of large metropolitan areas such as Los Angeles, Denver, Phoenix, and even Chicago have become increasingly familiar with these unexpected visitors. Coyotes often slip into quiet neighborhoods during the early morning or late evening times, when human activity is low and the streets are calm, perfect conditions for foraging. At first, they may target spilled trash, pet food left outdoors, or fallen fruit in gardens. But over time, as they learn there's little to fear, they become bolder, stalking small pets, and in rare cases, approaching unsupervised children. With high reproductive rates, a single female coyote can give birth to 5 to 9 pups annually. This contributes to a rapid population boom in suburban zones where natural predators are scarce and food is abundant. These animals aren't afraid of porch lights, cars, or even human voices. They've adapted to live among us often without being noticed until a chicken goes missing, a cat doesn't come home, or a small dog is found with serious injuries. This quiet yet dangerous infiltration has forced suburban residents who once considered themselves far removed from wildlife threats to rethink how they protect their pets. What was once thought of as a distant Wild West problem has become a very real backyard reality, with coyotes weaving silently between neatly mowed lawns and white picket fences. The coyote, a patient and intelligent predator. Unlike many wild predators that rely on brute force or instinctive aggression, the coyote is known for its patience, cunning, and calculated strategies. It doesn't charge blindly at prey. Instead, it observes, waits, and learns human behavior before making a move. That's why many pet attacks aren't random. They're the result of deliberate, long-term surveillance. For example, a coyote might quietly watch a household for several days, studying the times when the dog is let out, where the chicken coop is located, or when the balcony door is left open in the early morning. Once it knows the routine, it strikes at the perfect moment, often at dawn or dusk, when people are least alert. These attacks are usually silent and sudden, leaving pet owners with no time to react. What's even more alarming is that coyotes don't always hunt alone. While you may only spot a single one, in reality, they often travel in loose groups and use coordinated strategies. One may act as a decoy to draw attention, while another approaches from a hidden angle. This explains why even the most alert dogs can fall victim to surprise attacks, and why survival is unlikely without immediate human intervention. Many pet owners have shared stories of stepping away for just a few minutes, only to return and find their small dog gone, snatched over a backyard fence they thought was secure. With the ability to leap nearly 6 feet high and climb with agility, an ordinary fence poses little challenge to a hungry coyote. To make matters worse, leaving pet food outside, putting trash out overnight, or feeding pets outdoors turns your yard into an all-you-can-eat buffet for these opportunistic hunters. Stealthy, calculating, and decisive, the coyote isn't a reckless brute. It's a tactical predator with intelligence that rivals our expectations. And that's why defending pets from coyotes isn't just a matter of strength, it's a test of vigilance, planning, and smart prevention. A hidden threat to pets, the silent predator next door. For many urban pet owners, coyotes may still seem like a distant concern, or worse, an underestimated one. There's a common belief that cats are agile, dogs will bark and defend themselves, and a fenced yard is protection enough. But the harsh reality is, most pets attacked by coyotes do not survive, whether they're cats or dogs, whether they're in the front yard or backyard, even if their owners are nearby. Cats are especially vulnerable. With their instinct to roam, climb, and explore at night, they often venture outdoors unsupervised, the perfect opportunity for a coyote to strike. Many cats vanish without a trace, no blood, no noise, leaving only an empty porch and a sinking feeling when the owner realizes something is wrong. As for dogs, the risk depends heavily on size and habits. Small breeds like Chihuahuas, Pomeranians, miniature poodles, or Shih Tzus often stand no chance in a surprise attack. Even medium-sized dogs like Corgis or Beagles can be seriously injured if not rescued immediately. A full-grown coyote can snatch a 20-pound dog over a fence and disappear into the dark in under a minute. The danger doesn't end with the attack itself. Many dogs that survive such encounters are left traumatized, unable to sleep, jumpy at every noise, and fearful of going outside. Owners, meanwhile, carry the weight of guilt and grief, often blaming themselves for looking away just a moment too long. It's a loss that can't be measured in dollars. It leaves a lasting emotional scar. In regions like California, Colorado, and Arizona, where coyotes are common, veterinary clinics regularly treat emergency cases involving pets mauled by coyotes. Wounds are often deep, jagged, and infected, sometimes involving internal damage. Even when pets survive, recovery can take weeks with expensive treatment and emotional stress for the whole family. The most common cause? Complacency. What seems like a secure yard to a human is often a hunting ground to a coyote. And once it's identified your home as a food source, repeat attacks are likely unless serious preventative steps are taken. How to protect pets from coyotes. As coyotes become increasingly bold and common in residential areas, waiting for local authorities to act is no longer enough. Each household, each pet owner is now the first and most critical line of defense. Taking proactive measures not only reduces risk, but also safeguards the emotional well-being of families who deeply care for their animal companions. The most important rule is simple: never let pets outside unsupervised at night. Dawn and dusk are peak activity times for coyotes.
Don't shoot it till I tell you.
Even opening the door for just a few minutes so your dog can go potty could be all the time a hidden predator needs to strike. If outdoor access is necessary, always use a short leash and stay close. Next, fortify fences and enclosures. A backyard fence should be at least 6 feet tall, ideally with an angled top or roller bar to prevent jumping. Chicken coops or small livestock enclosures should be reinforced with durable wire mesh and buried at least 8 to 12 inches underground to stop digging. What seems like a small gap to you could be a perfect entry point for a nimble coyote. Third, keep your yard clean and scent-free. Avoid leaving leftover food, bones, fallen fruit, or unattended pet food outside overnight. These odors don't just attract coyotes, they draw in rodents and other small animals, which in turn attract larger predators. Adding motion-activated lights, alarm systems, or security cameras can help you detect unusual activity. Some advanced systems even emit high-frequency sounds that deter coyotes once they're detected on your property. These tools can serve as an early warning and potentially scare them away before an incident occurs. Finally, be mindful of how you walk your dog, especially near wooded areas or open land. Never let pets roam off-leash, no matter how safe the area may seem. Use a sturdy, short leash and keep your pet within reach at all times. If you encounter a coyote, do not run. Instead, raise your arms, make loud noises, and back away slowly while keeping your pet close and calm. No method is foolproof, but combining multiple preventive strategies can significantly reduce the risk of a pet falling victim. In an age when coyotes no longer fear humans, the owner's vigilance is the final line of defense between a predator and our beloved four-legged companions.
In the shadows of abandoned fields, under the quiet veil of rural America's nights, there are sounds only those close to nature would recognize. The rustle of dry grass being trampled, a low hiss like the wind but heavy and close to the ground, and then a deep grunt that feels like the earth itself is being torn apart. These are the sounds signaling a threat's arrival, the invasive wild hog. Wild hogs or feral hogs, are no strangers to many rural areas. But few could have predicted that these once domesticated animals would escape their pens, thrive in the wild, adapt to harsh conditions, and become one of the most dangerous, invasive species America has ever faced. Unchecked by natural predators and free from human control, wild hogs spread like weeds after a rainstorm, but the consequences they leave behind aren't just barren patches of land. They threaten the collapse of both agricultural and urban ecosystems. These creatures possess traits that make them a true nightmare. Weighing up to 150, 200 pounds, capable of running at speeds of 30 miles per hour, and with an extraordinary reproductive radius sow, can produce 4 to 6 piglets per litter. 2 to 3 litters a year. Wild hogs don't just spread, they explode in population. Herds can number in the dozens, and they move like a wrecking crew. Wherever they go, the soil is churned, crops are uprooted, soil microorganisms are disrupted, and everything is left in ruins. Crops are their first target. Fields of corn, wheat or soybeans, the fruits of months of hard labor, can be destroyed in a single night by a hungry herd. They don't just eat, they dig, trample and root for tubers and larvae, leaving behind deep pits, jagged scars and barren soil unfit for planting. A farmer in Oklahoma once said bitterly, "They leave nothing but despair. The rows I planted with sweat and tears, they destroy in minutes." But what makes these animals truly terrifying isn't confined to rural areas. Over the past decade, wild hogs have begun encroaching on urban spaces. Park lawns, children's playgrounds, golf courses, and even residential backyards have become their targets. At night, security cameras in suburban neighborhoods capture unbelievable footage. Massive wild hogs lumbering over fences, tearing through trash cans, uprooting flower beds, and even chasing pets or attacking people if they feel threatened. More than once, authorities have had to intervene after panicked residents called in, "There's a monster in my backyard." And it's no exaggeration. Adult wild hogs, with their dark, bristly hair, glowing red eyes in the night, and curved tusks like daggers, could easily be mistaken for creatures from a sci-fi movie. Wild hogs aren't deterred by streetlights or car horns. They've been recorded crossing highways, causing dozens of serious traffic accidents in Texas and Georgia. No fence can stop them. They're patient, cunning, and quick learners. Some even avoid infrared cameras or refuse to enter traps if they sense anything suspicious. In nature, intelligence is a survival tool. In this case, it's a weapon against humans. And the scariest part? The silence they bring. Unlike other invasive species that announce their presence like starlings, brown snakes, or insects, wild hogs come at night quiet but relentless. By the time you notice, it's too late. Your garden is unrecognizable, your field is torn apart, and the damage runs into thousands of dollars all in a single night. Wild hogs are the perfect invaders, strong as beasts, cunning as predators, and as dangerous as a plague. They don't destroy out of instinct, but as if they have a strategy. Every place they pass through is a warning that nature, once disrupted, will retaliate in ways no one could foresee. And this is just the beginning of the story. The next part will reveal details about the hardest hit areas and why, despite all efforts, humans have yet to stop the advance of these creatures. After nights of silent destruction, people started asking, just how far have wild hogs spread, and what have they destroyed? The answer isn't simply crops or neighborhoods. It's a long list stretching across states, from vast farms to children's playgrounds, from remote forests to crowded suburbs, all unwilling battlegrounds in the war against this invasive species. In Texas, the situation is so severe it's almost a part of daily life. With over 3 million wild hogs, nearly a third of the US total, Texas is the epicenter of this ecological storm. From the eastern plains to the western mountains, no place is safe. Livestock ranches rebuild fences weekly as hogs repeatedly knock them down. Fields of corn, soybeans, and even cattle grazing pastures are torn up beyond use. In the San Antonio area, one farmer reported losing over 60% of his summer yield in just 4 days. All evidence pointed to a herd of wild hogs caught on nighttime cameras. Georgia and Alabama, southern states with humid climates and fertile soil, are also seen as promised lands by wild hogs. They swarm peach orchards, destroying roots, eating unripe fruit, and digging pits that ruin irrigation systems. Not just crops, but chickens, ducks, rabbits, and other small livestock mysteriously disappear. For many small-scale farming families, the arrival of wild hogs is tantamount to bankruptcy. In California, where people picture lush vineyards in Napa Valley or thriving vegetable fields in Central Valley, wild hogs have a different strategy, hiding in urban-adjacent forests by day and raiding farms at night. While wineries plan harvests, a herd can sweep in, devouring ripe grapes overnight. Worse, their tracks and feces cause many areas to fail food safety standards, multiplying wild boars, thought to be creatures of remote forests there, now invading American cities. From rural farmlands to suburban neighborhoods, they're tearing up park lawns, destroying backyards, and creeping onto quiet streets. But the real devastation is unfolding across the country's farmland. Millions of acres of crops have been trampled, roots unearthed, and countless farmers left with nothing after harvest. With rapid reproduction and surprising intelligence, these invasive hogs are turning peaceful communities into battlegrounds. The United States is facing an unprecedented ecological crisis, and the invader is a species many once underestimated. We began the hunt early in the morning as a light mist still hung over the fields. Our dogs barked loudly, tracking every trace left in the soft earth. Their growls echoed through the sparse forest, signaling that the invaders were near. Before long, the first wild boar emerged from a thick patch of brush, massive, muscular, with wild, blazing eyes. But in just a few swift moments, thanks to the coordination between man and dog, the beast was cornered. A single shot rang out quick, clean, precise. The first one was down. And we knew this battle had only just begun. We continued moving to a new area, pushing deeper into the wild terrain. And once again, success followed. Another trail, another encounter, another boar taken down. Each step forward brought fresh tracks, fresh challenges, and more victories. The momentum was on our side, and the hunt pressed on. In this new area, the wild boars were smarter and far more aggressive. They moved with caution, tested the wind, and even tried to outmaneuver our dogs. It was clear we were dealing with tougher, more cunning opponents. But the hunters were no strangers to this game. Seasoned and sharp-eyed, they read the terrain like a map and anticipated every move. One by one, the boars fell. No matter how fierce they were, they couldn't match the experience and precision of the men who had hunted these lands for years. But just as the team began to think they had the upper hand, something changed. Deep within the thickets, they stumbled upon fresh signs footprints larger than any they'd seen before, and trees marked with deep gouges. One of the dogs began to whimper, ears pinned back. Something someone was watching. Moments later, a massive shadow burst out from the underbrush. It was the alpha boar, enormous, scarred, and terrifyingly fast. With a guttural roar, it charged straight at the group, forcing even the most seasoned hunters to step back. The first shot missed. The second only grazed its side. Dust flew, dogs barked furiously,